Hi, welcome back to this channel. In this video, I'm going to show you the features that come along with outdoor mapping options on a FieldFox. So when you purchase options for mapping, it has both outdoor and indoor mapping. So in my previous video, I think it's episode 50, it has the guide on how to set up for outdoor mapping, how you define an area of interest, then you download the map into a zip file and you can recall it back on the FieldFox when you want to do a measurements outdoor. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you set it up for indoor measurements. And again, this is just a guide to set up the indoor map, whether it's useful or not. You can leave your comment in the video. And I do have some difficulty finding the usage of it, but if you have some idea of how to utilize these features, do share it with me so that I can learn something. Without further ado, I'm going to show you how to set up the indoor mapping. Indoor mapping only available in a couple of options in FieldFox. One of it is channel scanner. So how do we know is that once you have that indoor mapping options, when you go to that under data logging, more, and the options will be turned on here. And of course, you can do outdoor mapping same way. Just refer back to the previous episode that I've made. So let's go back to here, measurements. So as you can see right now, I'm setting it up for just one channel because in the indoor mapping options, there's only one channel is going to show on the measurements. In regardless of how many channels you set, the data is actually referring to one channel. And this is how you're going to set the indoor mapping. Let's go to, prior to that, I'm going to set my folder because I did download a map into the map folder in the internal storage. So let's go to there, save, recall, more, manage folder. So currently I reset to the root maps folder, but by default it's always go to internal SD. So how you're going to do that is go to map and say change folder. Once you've done that, and when you try to recall, let's go to measure, data logging, more, indoor, record indoor data. So by default you go back to maps folder, the one that we selected. This is the one that I've created, layout 01 PNG, and I just recall. So this is how it looks like. And if you have a FieldFox in front of you, you should see a knob over here. And I find it's very useful if you change the knob to, instead of zooming in and zooming out. So by default, it's this. RPG is referring to the knob. And by default, it goes to zoom. So if you need to zoom in and out of your map, then that's the way to go. But because there's an up and down button here, and the only thing lacking is the left and right. So I find it's kind of useful if you're in front of the FieldFox right now with the knob. So you can actually do this, moving about, and then when you do a knob, so it does rotate left and right. And data selections, again, the easiest way is just to set one channel, but if you want to have multiple channel and refer to that particular channel, so this is where you can select. If you have more than one channel, this is where you can select the channel number. And then I'll go back again. And if you prefer to do north, south, east, west navigation, you can do that here. It's very similar to the buttons and the knob, but I found that it's easier to do a physical button and then click on record. This is where you set the limit. I'm going to show you later after I walk around and the result of how it look like when there's a high power, medium power, and low power range. And you can set the limit here. And let's go back to navigate. When you turn off the navigate, this is where it will change. The buttons will work differently. So this is how you're going to do that. And that's it for the setup. Before I start walking, I'll change this back to navigation, and let's say we do a mock measurement. So somewhere here, and I do a recording. And this is label and icon. This is where you're going to change if you want to see the data one here or not. So this where you're going to set that. And let's do another point so that you can see what I'm talking about. And let's see, let's do a record and do a left right, and I do a record and I go back up again. Okay, so you're going to see some difference when I select the pointer and also the point line. So currently it's flat, triangle flat. Then when you change a point, it's just a square point, and line is where how you navigate around. It shows from point to point. So pointer on is where it shows where's the target. So from what I understand, you just walk around in the house and then you do a recording, and then after that you have a snapshot of how it looks like. Just a different contour of color according to the power level of the measurements. So one more thing I want to show you is here, you can do a bearing line. For example, it's like drawing. I just want to turn on bearing and then I do a angle. Let's say I know roughly my point, my transmitter. Let's say over here in the bathroom, no, in the kitchen here, and then length will be the length, and then I can do second point, and I change the angle. So this really just to show and tell, and how you, and then you can do a rough estimation of how far it is from the transmitter, and that's really about it. Other than channel scanner, we have another mode that has this feature, indoor mapping. It's called the over-the-air measurements. Let's go there. So wherever you click back or escape from this map, it will ask you whether you want to save the log file as KDAT. And this file can only be opened by FieldFox, and there's no other software on the computer that is able to read it back. I'll show you how it looks like. So let's recall indoor map, and let's try this. Recall. Okay, there's nothing to show here. Let's try again. Back. Let's recall indoor. Maybe this one. Yeah. So this is what I did yesterday. So this is how it looked like. So it's really just for show and tell, and you can actually unzoom it. Then you can save it as a PNG file. Then, okay, sorry, it's just too fast. Let's try again. Let's go to measure, data logging, and recall. Let's try this. Recall file. And if you want to have a snapshot, and so that you can put on your report, this is where you're going to say save as image. Okay, and how do we get there? This is all the setup. Go to more, save as a PNG file. So with a PNG file, it has all the points and all the lines as you set up, and you can just put in your report. Right, the next thing I want to show you is the OTA. I won't show much on this on LTE. So how you get to data logging for the indoor is go to trace, more, data logging, indoor map logging. It's the same thing, and I did prior to this, and I can recall the indoor log file. This is what I did. Let's record the file. Hopefully it shows something. It doesn't matter. So the concept is there, and you can add on to the record point, and then you can save it again, just like channel scanner. So I'm going to walk around in the house, take some data, and you can see how it looks like. This is a sample result after walking around the house and trying to measure the power level at different points away from the transmitter. As you can see, there are 3 data points. Data 1 is quite close to the transmitter, hence you're seeing the red dot. And data 2 is away from the transmitter, and data 3 is furthest away from the transmitter. So the color scheme actually indicates the different power level, but again, in this map option, it doesn't allow user to see the exact power level, even though we point back at the same spot. So this indoor map is very useful if you just want to have a visual indications of seeing different color schemes of power level across the indoor where you're walking around. To me personally, I still struggling to find out what is the benefit of using this. If you have any ideas of utilizing this indoor map features, do put in the comment so that I can learn something from you. Just recap, we go through how to set up, where we can find the indoor map options, how to set it up, and also how to navigate around. Lastly, I show you the sample results, which I walk around the house and show you different color scheme that indicates different power level. Thanks for watching.